we are going to touch on this just because it's fucking hilarious watching the last claws and shrieks of a dying propaganda network that is TYT. Back in 2016, I was like, wow, I would love to work at TYT. They're so awesome. Hell the fuck no. As soon as that money came in, as soon as they started Russiagating, I was like, boop. Because that's when you knew. That's when you knew, when they started pushing the whole Russia. And they're still pushing Russiagate. Yeah. Cenk is still over here thinking he's just sinking himself further and further. It is hilarious to watch. We haven't really talked about it, but we had to mention it. Pasta put this in the folder because, well, Cenk's your best friend. So I want you to read his little tweet.
Of course! Genuine question. Have Aaron Mate, Max Blumenthal, Glenn Greenwald, and Jimmy Dorn condemned this hideous authoritarian and corrupt actions of the Putin government? I'm not asking if you want to bomb them, so don't strawman it. It's a layup, and you might have condemned him already. So what they're trying to say, and this is from the Washington Post, and a Moscow court declared the political and anti-corruption networks of jailed opposition Alexei Navalny, extremist organizations, a move that will essentially crush the most formidable resistance to the Kremlin and force it underground. All right, now, it's kind of disgusting that the West is kind of putting up this Natali guy. Mm-hmm. They're still putting him up, okay?
Navalny, yeah.
Navalny. And just for clarification, he's not being jailed because he's Putin's opposition. He's being jailed because he committed fraud against a French perfume company. Yep. And a Russian court found him guilty, and he's serving a sentence. It's not a long sentence. But the West wants to kind of act like it's, oh, what's going on? But my question to you, fam, is, and maybe you can shed a little light on this in situation, because I think a lot of people are playing this. What difference does it make if Russia does have a bad government and they're pushing things that are really negative and stuff like that? Do we have to call them out for some reason, or shouldn't we just be responsible towards our government? I mean, what's the sense of, well, you know what? I'm just pointing out that both sides are bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, the United States imperialism is bad, but let's not forget about Russia's. What's the whole point behind that? Because to me, it seems like it's okay to manufacture consent for our imperialistic behavior.
It's a straw man argument. That's what it is. It's a complete and total just look over here. I'm not going to address what I have said. I'm not going to address the fact that Russiagate was debunked. I'm not going to address my neo-McCarthyism. I'm not going to address the fact that I'm attacking people for exposing our propaganda on Syria. Again, the Syrian chemical attacks, every single fucking one of them have been debunked. Okay? Yeah. All of them. And you're pushing propaganda from Bellingcat. Anna was pushing propaganda from the CIA. Like, they don't want you to look at that. So what they do, and this is reminiscent of what that whole contingent of the left does, they do personal attacks.
Yep.
Oh, you aren't speaking out against the genocide of the Uyghurs in China. So what does that have to do with what we're talking about? Why? Because they don't have any rebuttal. They don't have any argument that's derived from logic. It's all emotion, and it's all just whatever sticks. And so this attack is to say, oh, let's you guys promote Assange and Assad. Well, what about Navalny? He's a prisoner of war. We know, we've gone over about who Navalny is and why they're manipulating him to kind of prop him up as this prisoner, when the same institutions propping him up and asking for forgiveness don't give two shits about Julian Assange right now sitting in Belmarsh prison in conditions that are dire. Yeah. Because it's not about a political prisoner. It's about what narrative he operates for.
Yeah.
And Julian Assange is obviously against the establishment, the empire, and Navalny is a tool. He's a useful idiot for the establishment. Is it wrong that people are kept as political prisoners? Yes, it is. And in fact, most of the Assange community that I know has called it out and said, yeah, free him too. They have said that about Reality Winner. They have said that about everybody, in spite of them being different situations. They have constantly always talked about that, because Reality Winner is another one that they always throw out there and say, what about Reality Winner? You guys don't care about Reality Winner? This is what they always fucking do.
Yeah.
And it's just so obnoxious that it keeps happening over and over again. And right now, you know, they're doing the tour, Julian's half brother and Julian's father, and they're in Ohio right now. And Misty, I'm sending out my best wishes for her. She's doing a great job just of everything, of organizing, fundraising, and we can't wait to see them when they come here. But like, this is just another like, oh, the Assange people, the Assad people like trope.
Yeah, it's kind of stupid, but I think it even goes deeper than that because it does manufacture consent for us to push our imperialism. And I see that on the right now, too, as well, with China. When China sneezes, Cynthia McKinney, get that book. And that's what I'm seeing right now because they have this mentality of like, well, why aren't you condemning Putin's behavior? Because at the end of the day, you'll be like, well, we have imperialism, but if we don't, if we don't push our imperialism, somebody will fill that void, whether it be China will fill that void or Russia will fill that void. You know what I'm saying? That's what the left says. That's what the right says. But all it does is manufacture consent for us to continue with our imperialist ways. And it's just kind of crazy to see a lot of leftists kind of repeat that same narrative about, China, about Russia, whatnot. Well, what's going on with, with Navalny? They're just jailing this guy, and he's one of their leaders. When you do a lot of research, it's like Mark Sloboda, who, lives in Moscow, says, no one gives a crap about Navalny. He's nobody. 2% of the population might even freaking know who he is. But anyways, let's read some of this stuff that was the bite back, because Glenn Greenwald went right after Cenk after this. He says, go fuck yourself, Chunk. I'm not here to jump through your little McCarthyite hoops and condemn things on demand. Have you condemned racist police abuse in Chile? Or the systemic corruption in Indonesia? Or abusive prison conditions in Brazil? Why not? Try to comprehend this. You know what I'm saying? And then he's got Noam Chomsky quotes. You got Alex Knight underneath him with the fire hose, I think. What else do we got up here? I'll let you scroll through, Johnny, and I'll tell you which ones to click on because I know Fiorella's got something here.
I mean, Aaron.
All right, there's me, by the way. Okay, that's my favorite meme. That's the look. Okay, Cenk. There's Blumenthal. There's nothing genuine about Cenk or I'm sorry. There's nothing genuine about Cenk or his question, and I don't have to satisfy moral standards of a what is that bloviating McCarthyite hack who organs. I can't even read. When NATO death squads murder a foreign leader, refers to the CIA as our guys and pushes demented Cold War hysteria day after day, which he does push demented Cold War hysteria.
All the fucking time. Since 2017, they've been doing this, guys. I'm so, Misty had a tweet out. She was like, I'm so glad you guys have finally joined the party. Thank you. Remember when we got shit for calling them out?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, thank you guys for joining. Now, just pay attention to all these other idiots that are in there because they're not the only ones.
Well, Malcolm Nance jumped in there too, and he's a piece of crap, ex-CIA worker or ex-FBI. I can't remember which three-letter agency he's worked for, but Malcolm Nance has always been on top. Like he's been on Bill Maher. He always pushes his red baiting. He goes, I'm going to say no, and they'll accuse you of being a McCarthyite and go on a Russia Today to condemn you as a BLM American imperialist running dog. Afterward, they'll praise Putin and Snowden. It's just a guess. Yeah, of course I'm going to praise friggin' Snowden as well. Jen Perlman jumped in there. Cenk, instead of continuing with this, how about helping organize a Medicare for All march in LA for the 24th? How about no, Jen?
No.
How about no? We don't want them involved with anything, okay?
Right.
Stop with this whole, we're just going to try to conform people and bring this. No, we don't want them involved, okay? So stop. Aaron Matei got in there too as well.
Okay, here's the thing. It's not that you don't want to reach out to people. It just wouldn't be genuine. Like Cenk doesn't want that because there are people that could potentially be mistaken and come around. We've seen it with Peter Dow. We've seen it with, a few other people that have come around, Proud Socialist, all of that. We've seen that, right? It's possible. But it's almost like saying oh, we want Cenk to come here and do something that he doesn't genuinely want to do. I mean, they trashed Force the Vote. They trashed a bunch of shit. They're not going to be genuine about this. Yeah. Stop begging for scraps. If people are going to come around, they're going to come around eventually on their own. I don't foresee somebody like Cenk Uygur, who has a lot of power, a lot of money, relying on this whole shtick of his to come around. Money talks. He's not going to fucking do it. It's very naive to think that that's what he's going to do while he's trashing journalists and all this other crap.
Well, I don't want to be involved with a guy who's taking a lot of money from the darkest people, you know what I'm saying, to push this Russiagate narrative constantly and stuff when he's working for it. So if anything comes in, this guy gets involved with the situation and something goes awry, why would we take him in the first place? Because he's just going to sabotage it. You know what I'm saying? His heart's not there. Like you said, his mind's not there. If he was all about it, he would have been all about Force the Vote. But, he's not. And there's just a bunch of other people just going after Cenk down below.
It's just hilarious just watching.
Reeve Barker's in there too as well.
What did he say here?
Although his replacement isn't much better, it's still wonderful to see the worst, most toxic politicians in the world. Bibi Benjamin Netanyahu has lost power. And here, once again, look at this. He's equivalent of Dick Cheney and Donald Trump combined. Warmonger, narcissist, liar, and corrupt. Good riddance. But he's not good about Joe Biden. Joe Biden just pushed that war just as much as Dick Cheney. He might not have been calling the shots, but Joe Biden was in the Senate and convinced the Senate to go along with the Iraq war.
Yeah, you can find the videos of him doing so. Yeah. And Sanders opposing it. You can find the videos of that back in the day. Like, you can fucking find it, Cenk. Again, this is what you're going to get from TYT, right? Like, oh, yeah, very surface level, like, not taking into consideration who Biden is, who Trump is, like in the same way, right? Like, Bennett is like a Biden. Like, he is just as bad, if not worse, legislatively. But just because he's not Bibi and he's not that, that face that everybody's gotten so used to hating, then it's like they ignore it. He doesn't talk equivocally about like what Biden did and Biden's record. His whole channel, the whole fucking time, the entire network was giving softballs about Biden while simultaneously just going off about Trump, pushing this whole Trump derangement syndrome that so many of these people have, and it's done a lot of damage. I mean, the guy has over 4 million subscribers on YouTube. I mean, and then he gets 3,000 views.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on.
And people are running away quicker than you can imagine. It's really, really a shame. Because once again, at one point, they were like one of the only kids on the block that I used to listen to, especially during the 2016 primaries and shit. It's like, who are you going to count on? It seemed like they were the only ones. And at the very end, when Hillary Clinton had cleared the nominee because it was evident that Bernard Sanders was dropping out, they took that money and they went 100% for the establishment. And a lot of people couldn't figure it out, but, hey, money talks and bullshit runs the marathon, and they got bought off, just as simple as that, and to see them still continue in the rhetoric, you know what I'm saying? Like Anna's little thing on Instagram the other day when she was going off and kind of defending QAnoners for believing in that crap because the mainstream media is always lying to people. It's a little bit too late, but you can see it. Their audience is, it's just dwindling down to nothing, and all of a sudden she makes a jump to try to grab some of them back.
That's why they're going after people, because they want to remain relevant. Yeah. That's what everybody has to understand out of all of this. Eventually, guys, it's better to not give them any attention, because this is what they want. They're going to continue tweeting and doing all this shit so people can talk about them, right? And that's why we haven't very, very much talked about them, because it's just like nobody gives a shit about TYT outside of our circle, really. Like literally nobody gives a shit about them. Like it's this, a lot of this shit is so irrelevant. We really, really should focus on the issues that matter, right? And I'm not giving shit to, to Jimmy for talking about it, because he gets attacked by them like constantly, right? And responding, or Ermite, who was personally attacked by Cenk and Anna and literally smeared and called a propagandist, etc. Like, obviously respond to that if you're attacked. I mean, they have come after us too, without even naming us. They have come after us.
I've been blocked by Anna.
I've been blocked by Anna. Blocked by Anna. Yeah. But it's I think at some point it's better to just leave them be. Move on. They want attention. Don't give it to them. They're trash, and they are a danger though, because they do still hold some level of like respect with some people who are very naive. But losing it every day. Yeah, I mean, I understand. They come from like, oh, well, they help wake me up and blah blah blah, and like now we're done with them, whatever. But like they did have their place, and I'm like, I get that. Yeah. Like I totally get that. But what they're doing now is regurgitating really bad propaganda. Yeah,
McCarthyite bullshit.
Imperialist shit. Imperialist shit really, on Syria.
Yeah. And it is really about one particular group just trying to mislead the public, whatnot. Yeah. I mean, it's not just TYT that's really awful when it comes to Russia. The whole mainstream media but the fact that TYT is going down that route just shows you who their true colors are. And I think it's kind of interesting that you said that they're still holding on because they have Bernie attachment syndrome. Yeah. Like people, Bernie woke me up. I can never, like, he gets a pass for anything he says and does. Like, no.
He woke me up, but in some ways, right?
I mean, obviously. Don't put you back to sleep, fam.
Obviously, yeah. Geez. We were talking about this the other day. I was telling my friend, like, Pink Floyd was honestly, like, one of the first awakenings for me. Just like that whole fucking album, Dark Side of the Moon, all of that stuff. Like, it was just, for me, it was like, wow, like, what are they talking about? When I was in high school, right? Obviously, Pink Floyd's way older than that, but like, I don't know, like, it's just those things, like, little things happen throughout your life that wake you up, and you're like, okay, and then you start getting, radicalized is what people call it, but I think it's just more so out of the matrix, right?
Mm-hmm. They get woke for real.
For real.
Did you ever see the movie The Squid and the Whale?
No.
It's kind of interesting to have this thing where the guy plays Pink Floyd songs. When they first came out, they weren't popular at all.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people didn't know them. And then years later, they just, boom, they hit. And when the laser light shows became very popular all across America, when people would spend Friday nights, they get drunk or get mushrooms or get high and go watch laser light shows, Pink Floyd exploded and became so popular. Because, look at the pretty lights.